Episode 5. The final afternoon of the holiday at 5 p.m., Suna lifted the galbajim pot in the kitchen. It was the short ribs she had been preparing for 2 days. Soaked, parboiled, marinated, and simmered for 3 hours over low heat. The pot was heavy, filled with 3 kilos of ribs and rich broth. The living room was packed with relatives. Her husband's cousins, sisters-in-law, and even his colleagues' family had come today. Over 20 people sat around 2 large tables. Holding the heavy pot, Suna carefully stepped over the kitchen threshold. Finally the galbajim is here. Her husband's voice echoed in the living room. It was a boastful tone, as if proud of something he made. Our house's galbajim is special. The taste is so-so, but the portions are generous. At her husband's words, the relatives laughed awkwardly. Suna's heart stung at his words. So-so? He disparaged the food she had made with such care since dawn. Suna reached the table. The pot was so heavy her arms trembled. Her wrists and elbows throbbed. 2 days of non-stop work had left her whole body exhausted. She wanted to put the pot down for a moment, but she couldn't. Everyone's eyes were on her. "Hurry up! Why are you dawdling?" Sister-in-law Mira urged. With trembling arms, Suna tried to place the pot on the table. But at that moment, an intense pain shot through her wrist, likely from the overexertion of the past few days. Her wrist tendons had given way. Suna let out a small moan. The strength drained from her hands. She desperately tried to hold on to the pot, but it was too late. The heavy pot began to tilt. The next moment, everything felt like slow motion. The pot slipped from Suna's hands. Hot galbajim flew into the air. The dark brown broth scattered in an arc, splattering everywhere. Thud. The sound of the pot hitting the floor reverberated through the house. Ribs and broth spilled across the floor. As the hot broth splashed, people nearby screamed. "Aigu, it's hot. It got on my clothes." The living room instantly became a scene of chaos. The expensive carpet was covered in ribs and broth. Greasy liquid spread, staining the floor. Pieces of ribs scattered everywhere. Vegetables like onions and carrots rolled around. Suna stood frozen in place. Her hands remained in the air, still in the position of holding the pot. Her face was pale, her lips trembling. She couldn't believe what had happened. For a moment, silence fell over the living room. Everyone was in shock, speechless. That silence felt like an eternity to Suna. Her heart raced madly, a ringing in her ears. Then, sister-in-law's son let out a sneer. "Aigu, this is why she's a disgrace to the family." With that, murmurs of agreement started here and there. How could this happen? What a waste of ribs. What about the carpet? Suna fell to her knees. With trembling hands, she tried to pick up the ribs. Her hands burned from the hot meat, but she didn't feel it. Her mind had gone blank. I'm sorry," Suna repeated, muttering. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Shame and humiliation overwhelmed her. In 33 years of life, she had never made such a big mistake. "Get up. You look pathetic," Mira said in a cold voice. But Suna couldn't get up. There was no strength in her legs. Her husband sprang up from his seat. His face was flushed red with anger. His eyes were full of rage. He clenched his fists, his jaw muscles twitching. "You stupid woman." Her husband's shout erupted. The relatives flinched at his voice. "What can you do, right? You can't even carry galbajim properly." Suna looked up at her husband. His eyes were full of contempt and hatred, as if looking at a bug, not a human being. "I'm sorry. My wrist suddenly—" "Don't make excuses. It's because you're clumsy." Her husband approached Suna. His footsteps were threatening. Instinctively, Suna cowered. Just then, Yeren ran over. "Mom, are you okay?" Her daughter tried to help her mother up, but her husband blocked the way. "Move. This woman has disgraced our family completely." "Dad, Mom didn't do it on purpose. Shut up. You're just like your mother, a useless girl. At her father's outburst, tears welled in Yaren's eyes. Suna tried to stand to protect her daughter, but the floor was slippery, and she fell again, slipping on the broth. The relatives buzzed. Isn't this a bit too much? It was a mistake. But no one stepped forward. They were all bystanders. Suna lay face down on the floor, crying. The hot broth seeped into her clothes, but she felt nothing. The shame was so overwhelming that all other senses seemed numb. It's really pathetic. To think I lived with a woman like this for 30 years. Her husband's words pierced her heart like a dagger. Looking at the ribs scattered on the floor, Suna thought, just like these ribs, my life is shattered on the floor too. Cliffhanger. In a final, unforgivable act of humiliation, Suna's husband raises his foot. The next moment, a sharp pain explodes in her side as his kick lands. This physical violence shatters the last illusion of her marriage. What will she do now that the line has been crossed? Her moment of reckoning arrives in the next episode.